Hello everybody, and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this will also be a lens repair because one of my friends asked me to take a look at this, and it's an AF-s NIKKOR for the DX format, and it's a 10 to 24 millimeter, 1 to the 3.5 and to 4.5 the G, and it's an ED lens. So nice lens actually, and with a very wide angle, even the DX format, and yeah, looks fine, but it has a problem. If you take a look here, normally this part on the back here with the mount and all that stuff should be steady. It should be screwed tight into it, but this is not really the case. So I would think about showing you how you can actually fix this in a very easy way. We just need some tools, not very much, at least 2 JIS screwdriver, since this is a Japanese design lens. So it's a 2mm and the 2.5 crosshead JIS, as you can see here. So it's very important. You probably can use a Phillips screwdriver. Yeah, you could, but if the screws are too tight, you will probably damage. Now, some tweezers is also very handy, at least a pointy one. And this is a modified tweezer which stamp collectors they use, because it's not to damage the stamps actually. But I added some liquid rubber. Latex is actually for making modeling thing, and it's I simply add it on the end, so the ends will be very sticky. And this is good actually for the to taking out the flex cable of the mount in here. And we also need some thread lock, which is softest of all of them. It's a purple one from Loctite, the 222, which is really good. Now, let's jump into it. I will simply begin with the unscrew the 5 screws around here, which is 2 for the connector and 3 for this light shield or whatever it calls. And it's with the very small screws. That's why I use the 2mm crossheads. So I can begin with this here. Screws are really tiny. So it's good actually with a magnetized screwdriver. It will actually help a lot to make things more easy, at least when you have to assemble it again. Sitting with a screwdriver with that is not magnetized. And the screws, the 2 screws for the connector is smaller than the other for the black ring here. There is no need to unscrew this. No. Only that right beside it. This little screw here is actually the stop screw when you mount it on the camera. So don't take that out. Now, then I can take out this part here. So, nothing special, just plastic. And now comes the more tricky part. Be very careful with working with the the connector, because the flex cable is not that long. So when you take it out, when you take out the mount itself, which I will take off now, it sits with 4 screws. 3 of them are the same, but this is connected into the plastic part in here underneath. So we can just take that out first. And also be careful of the rubber sealing around here. Don't damage it. It can be a little problem to get a new one. I'm trying to using my iPhone for this recording, so I hope it will be actually very good. Just to try another thing. And we have the last one here. You see, before I take it out, there's a guide pin here, which you shouldn't take out, because when you mount the mount, this hole should be used for the guide pin, not this one. I have 2 fingers here on the mount, so it will not just fall off. Now, gently, very gently. And also another thing is the pin for the aperture sits here. It goes a long way in, and when you take it out, take out the mount, just put this little bag here. For that, we also use another tweezer, which can be very handy to just gently lift it away. At the same time, you take off the mount. Just lift it up a little, so the mount is, the connector is free. So now, take out here, and then remember the pin here, which you probably can see here. This pin here, that is connection to the deeper into the lens at the aperture. I hopefully can, it's very difficult to show actually in here, but you can hopefully, maybe I can show you here. You see the connection is actually going to in here, and it will push on the aperture plates. Now it's difficult to see, but hopefully you can see it. And this pin here has to be on, the pin has to be on this side of the other part in here. Don't know how to explain it. Now, there are some spacers that we need to put back in again. You see the guide pin here. So I can just lift them up. There could be more than 1 or 2 or maybe 3, depending on how they actually micro adjusted in the factory. All the holes are the same, so you can just set a mark here, which I actually did because I went into the lens before, just to see how things was. Now take off the back barrel here, and again be safe to the flex cable here. Before we can take off the back here, we need to push this part. As you can see, it's put in here, so we need to hold on to the back here and just press gently on this pin, this part here, the switch. It will sit with 2 wires, so hopefully we can do it. Maybe there is, well, just gently. It's better to actually have a push on this side and then lift it up by this way. And remember the two thin wires. So now I can actually lift up the back barrel and turn it a little, twist it a little, so the two small wires and the contact here can come through it that way here. And now it's free. Nothing special, just plastic. So now we are actually looking into the circuit board, which I need to take out, because underneath, you see this, maybe you can see it, it's very loose. It's not the actual silent wave motor that is loose. It's because of the back part here, which hold on to the circuit board, the mount. So, but underneath there is 3 screws that hold it in place. So we need to see, it's actually very loose, and of course it will affect the picture you're taking. So what we can do, we can zoom the lens a bit out, so it will be on 24, because then I have the more space in here on the back. I will not hit the back lens. So now I'll take my rubberized tweezer, and hopefully very easy can pull out the very thin flex cable. There are probably a tool in the factory that can do the same, I don't know, but this is just my own design. Hopefully it will work, at least in the beginning, so you can pull them out. You see, it's very fragile. It's not that easy, because underneath here there are some components, small. Yeah, not that good. And I don't want to. So now it's free. I think the other one will be a little easier, because then I can dig under it, just pull it out. So it should be. And this is a much thicker flex cable, so I can just pull it out and it sits in a more easy way. So now I can, this is another type of connector which you need to gently pull out one side, then the other, and then you can disconnect the thin flex cable. It doesn't sit very easy into the connector. So now we are closer to actually taking off the circuit board, which sits with one screw up here. And it can only sit in one position, so there is no problem. And also the guide pin here again, you see there, it sits very tight into the circuit board, so one have to wiggle a little and gently lift off the flex cables, and then it's free. Nothing special about that, just a lot of components as usual, those type of lens. And now we are looking into the interesting part, which will be quite loose. See up here, it shouldn't be that. So that I will do is actually unscrew one screw at a time, and add some thread lock. Just a little. Just a little drop will be a lot. Because I also will do some on the way too much maybe. And then simply add some, just a tiny amount. And because this is the soft thread lock, it will not be a problem to unscrew it again. Just tighten it good. See, this is also quite loose. So it's not necessary. I mean, they have added some here, as you can see, but again, it's not really much. And the last one. So. I mean, I could have used the red one. I mean, the blue one, which is medium tight thread lock, but I think that will be fine enough. So now it's actually tight as it should be. And the other here is I checked them before. They are also, all of them are actually tight. It's not the same need for, it doesn't have the same problem. So now I can just put things back in again. So on with the circuit board, the guide pin hole, and there. And it should be there. And there isn't any other flex cables. So I can just put it on and in with a screw. And maybe it's, I don't think it's necessary because it's screwed into the tin on the circuit board, and there's a spacer, so there's no need for any thread lock. So now I can add the flex cables. Push it gently into the connector all the way in. It's not that easy with it. Well, I have to use my other tweezer for that. So, and it's all the way in. And the flex cable for the motor. And it's actually, I think it's more easy with a tweezer. So here we are. And then the small one. And it's all the way in. Then you push in the lock here. So it is. And then the last of it. Just need to do this. It's not the best. I'll do it. Redo this tweezer with rubber. So put this gently into the connector here. Oh. So all the way in, and that's fine. So I can then add the mount, no, actually the barrel here, to put that back in again. So all I need to do is something like that. Well, it's a different thing to use, show it on camera, than just do it without any camera on. So, and where's the guide pin? It has to be somewhere. So you can see it can only sit in one way. The 3-point here, and the guide pin, there is no way it can sit in a different way. So what's happened here? So it is here, and then I can add the switch. It has to be up at here, and then you press in on it with your finger, and then press it down so it sits correct. So now the only thing I need to do is put the spacers, those here, my guide pin, one spacer or maybe more, depends what's in your lens. Align the holes here, and then add the mount here. You see the rubber sealing is not, it doesn't sit very tight onto the mount, so it can bend a little. So by putting in the pin here, hopefully you can see what's happened. No, it's difficult. So there, and then align the guide pin by turning the mount a little. Just make sure the rubber sits correct, and then turn the mount a little so it will align to the guide pin in here. So also make sure the mount, the flex is sit proper into the mount here. You probably need to move the aperture pin a little, and also make sure the rubber sealing here sits correct, which can be a little annoying. But by pushing out in the edge here, it will bend the rubber a little inwards. No, not all the way in here. Yeah, it looks like it will be fine. So the guide pin is aligned into it. So now I can just add all 4 screws on the back here. And we'll begin with the plastic screw. Is a more different thread. No need for use any thread lock. And then the rest of the screws, just use a little on the mount itself, because the screws was actually a little loose on the mount itself. See, it's much better how it does work. And so where did it go here? And the last one. So in an easy way, you can repair your lens quite easy without any special tools or whatever. So now we can see it's as it should be, not any loose parts. So I can add the 2 screws for the connector. And I don't need to use any thread lock on them. Just tighten them good. There. So. And there. And then we can put the ring on here. Just check that the aperture is actually working. It should be snappy like this one. And then you can add the ring here. If you just put it on, you can see it will stick here. So you need to push the pin a little before you put in the ring. Just a note. And then we are actually all fine. Then the last screw and we are done. That was not that hard. So then we are safe home. Oh, this front filter is actually loose in the glass. Well, it's not the case here. I mean the problem of the case. Just check around that the rubber is sitting correct. So now we're done. You can put the back cover on here and say that's all fine. That was all for me this time. So hope you enjoy the content and can use it to repair your lens. See you in another video. Bye bye.